A decade ago, IT was a lot simpler. The needs and the resulting changes were more predictable, and manual processes were sufficient enough to handle most changes. Backup and recovery, one of the oldest core IT functions, was quite simple in nature too. Maintenance windows, planned downtime, and week-long recoveries were the norm, and they were seen as non-threatening to the business. Backup was typically based on a nightly schedule and relied heavily on tape-based media, which was used to store multiple point-in-time copies of the data. Disaster recovery requirements for your important transactional data were usually met by physically sending tapes to a secure off-site facility in a different location. Within the last 10 years, IT organizations have evolved and transformed rapidly and quite dramatically. This transformation has been largely driven by some major trends. Firstly, new and dynamic applications within a data center are driving data growth and making traditional static-based set and forget it type complex backup and recovery approaches ineffective. Secondly, an increasingly mobile workforce is creating and consuming business data through the use of mobile devices, resulting in a sea of dynamic data, which is building at the edge of the organization's IT infrastructure, and it's often seen in remote locations with different resources and different systems. Thirdly, increased adoption of cloud and virtualization are created unintended data silos and additional management complexity. And lastly, always on, 24 by 7 operations have completely obsoleted the concept of a backup window, and scheduled maintenance downtimes are no more. These trends have transformed both IT and business organizations into a much more complex, diverse, and highly dynamic entity, meaning that IT staff are under tremendous amounts of pressure to be more agile to meet the rapidly evolving business requirements, all doing more with less budget and with less personnel. Yesterday's static, set it and forget it backup and recovery approach no longer fits today's new style of IT. You don't need backup. What you need is business resiliency. And that's where we're taking it, to a new, fresh, and unique approach to data protection. We call it HP's Adaptive Backup and Recovery. HP's Adaptive Backup and Recovery approach goes beyond traditional backup and recovery methods to deliver business resiliency, scale, and resource efficiency that's critical to meet today's dynamic data center and business requirements. It leverages application and data intimacy with real-time operational analytics to decide when, where, and how data should be protected and made available. At the heart of HP's Adaptive Backup and Recovery initiative is something we call adaptive intelligence, which adjusts backup priorities to dynamically changing data, applications, and your business requirements. HP's approach offers flexible deployment options to optimize backup and recovery for the data stored in the various repositories within physical, virtual, and cloud environments. With adaptive intelligence, customers can look ahead. Think of it as your GPS for backup and recovery, enabling IT professionals to avoid problems or resource conflicts within their backup environment, helping them to better optimize their backup infrastructure. By leveraging operational analytics, IT can determine the right frequency of protection and for how long data should be retained. Finally, adaptive backup and recovery delivers business resiliency by integrating deeply within the data center infrastructure. It does this by orchestrating protection of storage arrays and mission-critical applications through the use of advanced API integration, providing turnkey protection for your mission-critical environments without the use of complex scripting or third-party tools. Let's consider a legacy set-it-and-forget-it tape-based backup approach for a customer environment with a primary data center, DR site, and a large number of remote offices. Data in remote offices are backed up on tapes and sent to a primary data center for off-site backup to protect against a site failure. Within the data center, the application backup is performed in a non-integrated fashion, so multiple copies of the same data are backed up, leading to a high level of inefficiency and a high cost of operation. Additionally, backup policies have to be manually adjusted when application environments change. Without centralized management or a single pane of glass, IT staff has no visibility into the backup environment. And lastly, the disaster recovery is highly labor intensive, it's slow, and it's expensive, lowering the total productivity as they will be unable to work on strategic high priority projects. HP's Adaptive Backup and Recovery transforms data backup from a commoditized set-it-and-forget-it type technology into a centrally managed, highly automated, and high-performance backup environment that greatly improves business continuity and business resiliency. It increases resource and infrastructure efficiency, and it dramatically lowers your storage costs. With HP's Data Protector software, IT staff at the primary data center can control and manage backup and recovery for all the remote sites, eliminating the need for sending backup experts into these locations. With HP's Store Once federated deduplication, data is efficiently transferred over low bandwidth from remote sites to the primary data center. HP's Data Protector has built-in intelligence to optimize backup for dynamic application environments. It adjusts the backup policies automatically when changes occur to the application environment. This enables organizations to dynamically tune and configure their backup and storage infrastructure, their resources and policies according to their usage patterns and business priorities. In summary, HP's adaptive backup and recovery vision through the use of IT operational analytics can help you automate, foresee, predict, and adapt to the infrastructure changes within your backup environment. HP offers proven scale and diversity for the enterprise, flexible deployment options including true hybrid protection to maximize your backup and recovery return on investment. It's time to rethink data protection for the modern data center.